What up, man? It's your boy BJ and BJ's World, back with another video. Look, man, today, we got going on today. We're doing a little diagnostics on the Suburban, 07 Suburban. It's a customer that I deal with. I do a lot of business for this person. Whatever it is, they know they can call on me any time of the day or night, let me know that they got an issue, and they'll know within the next day or two I'm right on the job. Man, that's the most important thing about being in business. Punctual, reliable, persistent, professional, courteous. And those are the top 5 things you most importantly want to know about being in this automotive business, man. This is a tricky business. It's a time-consuming business, but it's a good business nonetheless. You always want to establish a good relationship with customers, with your people. You want them to be able to feel safe. You want them to be able to feel comfortable. You want them to be able to trust you. You want them to be able to know that, hey, look, man, I could call this dude anytime and they'll be right there for me. You know what I mean? You want your customers to feel like, hey, look, when I call this man makes me feel like I'm part of, like I'm family, or we real close, or we real tight. That's one of the most important things about being in business. You want your customers to be able to trust you and rely on you. All right? Don't never forget that, man. And you always want to be that person that they don't mind, but like, hey, look, man, if you need some work done, I got this guy I can call, and this guy, he'll come right to you, and he'll give you good work, and he'll give you some of the best information that you could possibly think of, man. You know what I mean? You always want to establish that kind of relationship with your customers. You always want them to make them feel good. You always want them to make them feel like, hey, listen, moments notice, I got the guy, and that guy is dependable. I love that guy. I ain't dealing with nobody else. And that's the way it should always be. So with that being said, I'll show y'all, man. 07 Bird. What we got going on. You know what I'm saying? Doing a little diagnostic. Right now we're running values. You know, we're just checking, make sure everything is, basically on a tight loop. Everything is in spec. Yeah, they good to go. And you want them to make them feel like, hey, listen, man, this dude knows exactly what's going on, exactly what he's talking about. You want to make them feel like, hey, man, this dude really knows what's going on. You know, I put a lot of time and a lot of energy into going to school, perfecting my craft, and learning this business. And I love what I do. I'm a car enthusiast. I love working on cars. It gives me peace. It makes me happy. And it's one of them businesses where, you know, you have to feel it. You have to feel it. I got into this business because of my father. My father, he loved cars. My father, he passed away a couple of years ago. And that's one of the main reasons why I feel about this business the way I feel, is because of my dad, man. If it weren't for him and some of his crazy antics when I was growing up, man, if that's what you want to call it. I mean, the dude, he was funny, man. I said, listen, man. I said, Pop, I want to drive to school. He said, you want to drive to school? I said, yeah. I said, my pop always loved Cadillac. So he hadn't been long bought a Cadillac. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, I love you. He said, but you won't be driving my goddamn car to school. He said, not my Cadillac, not that one sitting out there in the yard. He said, I got something for you. So, man, he had this old box Chevy. Man, I never get tired of telling this story, man. Look, that summer, I mowed yards, I picked up cans, chores in the neighborhood for everybody. Man, carried out the older people's trash, mowed their yards. My pops paid me, they paid me, he paid me just off the strength that I had the will to get out there to want to work and make my first car run myself. Me and my dad, man, we worked on that car. the whole summer, you know what I'm saying, replacing the parts and making sure everything was good and making sure everything was correct on that car so I could drive to school. And that's what I drove to school. A 1985 Chevy Caprice box. That was my first car. Man, the daggone chrome on that daggone car was the brightest thing on there. Man, that car, it was rusty. It was rust all over the body, but man, we put a lot of love and a lot of energy into that car to make that car run. And ever since then, man, I've been in the cars. I became a car enthusiast, and it ain't really too much out here that I won't put my hands on. I have an ear for it, man. I love it. It's just something that I do that I admire. And I thank my pops, even though he's not here with us anymore, man. I thank him every day, every chance I get. Man, I really appreciate the way he took the time to invest in my career and my life to make sure that I can work hard, to make sure that my kids don't want for nothing, and to make sure that I set some ground for them and teach them something. And, you know, because my oldest son, he loves cars. So I try to teach him, and there's certain things that he wants to know that he wants to do on his own, and I don't stop him. I let him go ahead and do his thing, and I teach him as much as I possibly can. And man, that's just one thing about being a father, man. You got to be willing to teach your kids, because they don't all start with a teacher. It starts at home. Your child's life, but whether you believe it or not, starts at home. Not in the classroom, it starts at home. If you can't teach your kids, then they're doomed. But I'm being 100% honest with you, they're doomed. So always keep in mind, man, because back in the day growing up, man, I'm an 80s baby. You know what I mean? You know how they say I'm the last of one of them kids I'm the last of that generation that was born in an era where you didn't mind working and getting your hands dirty. And I don't mind working, I don't mind getting my hands dirty. You know what I mean? I've worked all kinds of jobs, man. I've worked in seafood, I've done automotive things, you know. But on this Suburban, man, you know, it was a thing with a 490, it had a 496 code, and it had a code with a 496. That's the Evap. And typically with a 496, it's pretty typical. It's a pretty typical code for all makes, models of cars, believe it or not. It's typically Evap purge problem, and that problem comes from you're getting a lot of vacuum, a lot of unwanted air in the system, and it's not purging itself the way it should be. So typically what you want to do, you want to check for vacuum lines. You want to check and make sure your gas cap is screwed in correctly. You want to check your purge canister. You want to make sure everything is connected on that. You want to make sure it's not clogged up, because it's right up underneath of the vehicle, right next to the gas tank. You got in the Suburban, your gas tank runs the long way, and right beside the gas tank is your purge canister that sits right beside it, and it's got plug-in electrical connectors, and it's got inlet and outlet bypass tubes that goes into it. So you typically want to make sure that that's not clogged up. You want to make sure that when you're filling up, always remember this too. When you're putting gas in your car, there is a vapor purge right next to where you put your gas in. It's up underneath. You can't see it. It's up underneath. You got to get up underneath and look at it. And you want to make sure those are not stopped up, because those have little strings of filters in them as well. And typically, if those have got stopped up, got dirt, trash in them, it'll give you an Evap code, especially if it's not purging properly. You want to make sure that all that unwanted air and all that unwanted pressure is purging through the system. And you want to make sure you don't have any broken vacuums and things of that nature. And like you know, and running the codes with a 496, it being in history lets me know it was something that was already looked at. But the PCM and the ECM is not clearing the codes. And typically how you want to do when you get that problem and it's not clearing is you typically want to just take and purge the whole system of all its power, disconnect the positive and the negative, purge the whole system of all power, let it delete itself that way, at least 12 to 24 hours, especially if you don't have anything to do. You let that system, you let it sit there, you let it drain itself. I'm talking complete drain. So then when you go back and you plug everything in, you may have to jump the system, you know, with a jump box, or, you know, with some jumper cables, things of that nature, and when it fire the system back up, and then you always cycle your key on and off. But when you cycle, you go to the on position like you're gonna crank it, you stop. When you stop, you let everything power up completely. And you don't want to hear no humming, no powering up noises, silence. You sit there for a few seconds, then you turn it off. Then when you turn it back off, you go back to on and let it power up completely again. All right. So with a 573 with a brake switch with a high circuit voltage, lets me know that there is constant power going into the system and that the ground may be faulty. It's in the history, it's been looked at before. Typically what I do is I go ahead and replace the brake switch, but then I also check the electrical connectors and I check the power wire and make sure it's not frayed or damaged. And if it's not, what I do is I take and I run a fresh ground from the power to a ground spot. Although it already has the ground on it, you still want to take them extra measures just to be safe, just to make sure that you're not burning up anything, because that's the last thing you want to do is create a fire. You don't want a fire. Constant voltage sometimes becomes fire hazards. Anytime you got constant voltage, that means you got power. Anytime you got power and it's just constant, could create a fire. Always remember that. Always remember that. Always remember, if you got constant voltage, you got a problem. You always want to check that out and look into it and make sure you find out what the issue is and take care of it right then, right there. With that being said, I want to go ahead and get this customer's vehicle done. I just wanted to give you a little insight about what's going on with this business and let you know how things go, give you a little bit of information. Hopefully, the information that I have in this video may be able to help somebody, teach somebody something. Maybe you could, spread it, tell a friend, you know what I mean? But look, man, this guy, he's got some good information, man, you know what I'm saying? But look, man, always remember, spread the love. Don't be jealous. Don't be greedy. Don't hate, because if you're being jealous, greedy, and hating, you ain't got time to grow. You ain't got time to manifest. You cannot get money that way because you always concentrate on what everybody else got going on. You know what I mean? So, we got to elevate, man. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure we set the bar high. We got to make sure that we keep our mind stable. We got to make sure that we keep everything, pure, energy positive, nothing negative. Get in the comments, leave a comment, be like, look, bro, you know what I'm saying? I got a problem going on. Hey, look, man, I'll get back to you. I'll find out the information, I'll get back to you, especially if you need some help, you know what I'm saying, with something, I don't mind helping. This is a business. This is a business. I'm gonna keep it on 100 with you. Depending on how deep I have to go and the information I get and things of that nature, there may be a small fee. This is a business. Bills don't pay themselves. You got to pay bills with money. And I'm not in this business. I'm not trying to sugarcoat, I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm not in this business just to give away my knowledge and my insight. On some things, I'm giving away knowledge and insight, but when it comes down to actual business, you know what I mean? Understand, sometimes you have to pay. You have to pay. That's it. Ain't no need to beat around the bush. Ain't no need to play. You know what I'm saying? But jump down in them comments. You know what I'm saying? But look, man, I got a problem. Can you help me? If there is any fees, ask me. I'll tell you whether or not, it's a fee or not. Because I don't want you to be surprised, like, oh man, this dude, he trying to scam or whatever. No, I ain't trying to scam, man. I'm running a business. This is a legal business. You know what I'm saying? This is what I do. This is how I take care of my family. This is how I pay my bills. And I love what I do, so I take it serious. And I would like for everybody else to take what I do serious as well. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, jump down in the comments, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. And it's basically, all I ask. I'm not trying to make nobody. Nobody has to do anything, but it would, you know what I'm saying? But spread, like I said, man, spread the love, spread the wealth, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how we can that's the only way we can grow as a people, man. That's the only way we can get back to being like we used to be. We got to spread that love, man. With that being said, spreading the love, spreading the knowledge, spreading the wealth. You know what I mean? This is your boy BJ in BJ's World, doing me, grinding hard, chasing my dreams, loving life, getting money. That being said, peace.